women are committed to playing music, and so they're like hiding from cops, and they're doing underground shows, and it's, you know.
That's how much they love the music, and then you got people over here just like, ugh, I don't want to have to wear a mask if I have to go to the venue.
Yeah, it does put it in perspective.
It really does,
yeah, of course. But that perspective was
vaccinate them with bullets.
That perspective was established a couple of years ago. But somebody wrote me a note in the break about holding the door. John wrote me a note. He's out in Willoughby Hills. And he goes, what's more of a dick move, not saying thank you or not holding the door open for someone? I always hold the door open if somebody needs it. If they get all the way through without saying anything, I will say you're welcome. Some people are just rude and need to learn their manners. See, that's the wrong approach. It shouldn't be that transactional. A grown adult, if they're rude, you're not going to teach them anything. The time to learn manners was a long time ago.
And she wasn't...
I would never say you're welcome if I held the door for someone and they, you know...
Yeah, I don't do stuff with the intent of, and now it's time to teach a lesson. I'm going to do this nice thing, but then if they don't do what I want them to do, it's lesson time.
Yeah, I'm not trying to test you. Yeah.
She said, this is her account of the situation. She walked in the door, and he held the door open for her, and before she even got a chance to say thank you, which she was going to say, he immediately hit her with a you're welcome.
It was a premature you're welcome.
It was a premature you're welcome, and that's what got her riled up, was the premature you're welcome.
Mm-hmm. That's right. You know, if you want to go way, way back to an old-timey definition of a word, I think you see it in the Bible. We used to chuckle about it in Catholic school. The word ejaculation used to be synonymous with like a loud expression, right? Mm-hmm. Like you'd scream, that would be an ejaculation.
Yeah.
That would be a premature ejaculation.
You would ejaculate, hallelujah!
That's right. It's old-timey, it's, you know. Mm-hmm. But that guy, definitely guilty of a premature ejaculation. In the most...
Of welcome, yeah.
Of you're welcome. Something said quickly and suddenly. So it's the verbal equivalent of, you know, the usual garden variety ejaculation.
Get a towel.
Get a towel. Wow.
Yeah,
all right. Yeah.
Too soon.
Mop. Alan Cox Show After Hours line. Anytime you want to leave a message there, you can. It's 216-986-8903.
Hey, gang. Evan and Lakewood here. So that Danny Elfman bit a couple days ago was probably the dumbest thing that has ever happened in the entire history of radio, and it absolutely destroyed me to the point that I had to pull over to the side of the road. Now, keep in mind that I'm a podcast customer, so I was driving down Clifton Boulevard at 3 in the morning, literally no other cars on the road, and I still had to pull over and compose myself before I could continue safely. So... please isolate this bit into its own YouTube video, because life is tough these days, and it's very important that we can access this as easily as possible whenever we need it. Thank you, and Godspeed.
I've gotten a lot of messages to that effect. There's no video component to the Batman fart song, but...
it's just us reacting to it.
Yeah, just a dumb kind of...
which it's posted in, you know... What day was that, Monday?
It's
in the Monday playlist, I believe.
Oh, is it Monday?
I think it was Monday.
Monday or Tuesday.
Monday or Tuesday, okay.
And it'll show up again in the Weekend Cox, because people requested me to include it. So, but again, it just came from something as simple as Little Caesars is putting out a calzone pizza in the shape of the Batman logo.
Yeah.
And, you know, the Batman with Robert Pattinson, it looks like this very serious movie. Certainly didn't think there was going to be any merch tie-in, but Little Caesars did it. And so I said, I made the OG Batman theme, Danny Elfman theme, with farts, because we're really clever around here.
So clever.
We pride ourselves on being clever, on being undyingly clever, if you will. Yeah. So, yeah. What are you going to do? But thanks for the call. You know, we have a number of bureau chiefs. That's what I call them. They're people who check in from parts all throughout North America. We have a map to that effect. If you watch the video, you'll see the map over Bill Squire's shoulder. And each pin on that map designates a person or a cluster of people who listen. Lindsay listens in Charleston, South Carolina. Evan is one of our bureau chiefs in Minneapolis. Jeff listens way out in Palmer, Alaska. Tanya is a new listener in Clayton, North Carolina. And we have a guy named Randy who listens in Worcester, Mass. And he sent me the story about Alicia Witt's parents. Do you remember Alicia Witt?
No.
She was this foxy redhead actress. She still works. She did, I think, one episode of The Sopranos. Remember when Christopher goes out to sell his movie and he starts banging that studio chick?
Oh.
The redhead.
Is that her?
When she was little, she was Paul Atreides' sister in the original Dune. She's like the little redhead. I don't think they've introduced that character yet in the new Dune. That's probably going to be in the second one.
Oh, she's cute, yeah.
Yeah, she's cute.
Yeah, I remember her from Sopranos.
Alicia Witt has been in a whole bunch of things. She's been working for a long, long time.
I feel like I want to watch Sopranos again.
Yeah, Gwen had never seen it, so we binged it, I think, a year ago.
But
or
I
something,
just watched it like a year and a half ago, and I kind of want to do it again. Good show.
She was in The Walking Dead years ago. I think she had an episode or two arc on The Walking Dead. Anyway, her parents froze to death in their house, and everybody was giving her a hard time. She was taking all this flack, them saying, you're this actress and you've got money and blah, 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 and how could this happen? And she's like, my parents weren't poor. They were really, really stubborn, and they would never let me help them. She's mid-40s, and her parents were in their mid-80s. Well, her dad was 87, her mom was 75. And she was unable to reach her parents. She was trying to get a hold of them, and so they sent somebody over there. And they said that their home was just, they lived in this awful, dilapidated home. And the furnace wasn't working or something, and so they were using a space heater, and they froze to death. They were dead after there were some heating problems in their house. And so she's out there, it's really no one's business, but she's out there like trying to explain to people, my parents didn't let me inside their house for 10 years. They died of hypothermia, even though they had their coats on in this house.
Oh, my God.
And she's like, firefighter. So it's not, my parents weren't poor. They didn't do anything with the house. They never let me help them. It's wild. She's like, it's not like I didn't offer to help them.
Why didn't they let her in their house for 10 years?
She said they made choices that I could never talk them out of. And I tried to help them in I don't know if she's an only child or what, but I tried to help them. And this is in Worcester, Massachusetts. That's where our listener Randy lives. And obviously she's upset, but it's this crazy, wild story. I mean, her parents do look like the old grizzled hippies or something, but still. She's like, they would never let me help them. I haven't been inside their house in 10 years. And there was nothing else I could do. She's like, I wasn't going to take them to court to like get control of their lives because they were independent and they were still capable of doing things. They weren't compromised in any way. But she's like, but I would beg them all the time to help and try to do things for them. Tried to convince them to move, like get them a nice house. And she's like, and they would scream and yell at me. But the house, a photo of the house, it just looks like just terrible. It just looks like a shotgun shack they were living in.
Oof.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah.
But, you know, that heating bill was nice and low.
Super low. So
Gas
low.
bill was nothing.
So, yeah, she said I had no idea how bad it had gotten because they didn't allow me in their house.
I mean, what dad doesn't want to go that way? Like, die. You want to die doing what you love, which is not touching the thermostat.
Yeah. Guys, I like it to be a balmy 55 in here, all right? In the middle of a Massachusetts winter. Don't anybody touch the thermostat.
So it wasn't even like they froze to death. They literally made themselves sick with the hypothermia.
I guess they died from hypothermia, yeah.
Because that's not the same as freezing to death. That's just your body temperature gets so low.
Well, you probably fall asleep.
Yeah.
And then
It's a pleasant way to go.
I guess.
They always talk about that. Like if you freeze
just
to
fall
death,
asleep.
You just kind of fall asleep and then you're gone.
Her dad was fighting cancer. Her mother had Parkinson's disease. They were found in their home the day before Christmas when the overnight temperatures were in the teens.
That was a great Christmas.
What?
You want to have some laughs there? That they died out right before Christmas in their dilapidated home. Do you want to?
I wondered if like someone came over and brought him a gift, like, oh, it's Christmas dinner, and then nope. My jar.
Mm-hmm. She said their neighbors said that they hadn't seen them for a long, long time. And that whenever Alicia Witt was in town or in the area, she would send a car over to pick them up. But she's like, they didn't have cable, they didn't have a television, they didn't have a computer. So obviously these were people that were way beyond anyone trying to help them. Like neighbors couldn't help them. But
you can die from hypothermia, and you can get hypothermia just in cooler temperatures. Like it doesn't have to be freezing, like 50 to 30 degrees. You can catch hypothermia, and it can kill you.
By the way, for our Florida bureau chiefs, they're going to have near record lows this weekend, which, whatever, you can put a coat on. But here's what happens in Florida. You know, anytime they list the states that people are moving to and leaving, here's the top 10 states people are moving to. Florida's always on that list. So for as much as we break Florida's balls, their record is unbroken of people moving down there to live out their lives, and, it's got to be a lot of fun down there. But the near record lows mean that iguanas will be falling out of the trees, and that people need to be aware of this. Because what happens is when it gets really, really cold like that, iguanas kind of freeze up, like they stop moving, and then they just kind of become immobile. Which means
cold-blooded,
that they'll fall from the trees, and that they're
iguanas. These are plagues. This is biblical stuff. There's lizards falling from the sky because it's so cold down there.
But they have to warn people because they're like, "Hey, don't touch these because reptiles carry bacteria."
Poundcake, do you want to invest in my iguana umbrella business?
Poundcake's iguana umbrellas. Ella.
No.
Why not? I guarantee a return on your investment.
No.
A big one.
I don't care. I can say no to you.
He can say no to.
I can say no.
If that woman had walked up to him and said, "Would you like to invest in my iguana umbrella business?" he would have given her his social security number, his email.
I just gave her my phone number.
Golf courses just from falling out of trees. It's almost raining iguanas, if you will.
That raining of reptiles caused by cold temperatures keeps Redline Iguana Removal busy. Perry Collado is co-owner of the South Florida-based company. He showed us what he found at this Miami Beach property after an...
Imagine your business is iguana removal.
Mm-hmm. And you're just watching the temperature. You're just like, oh my gosh.
This is going to be a big weekend for me.
A good week.
Overnight cold snap.
This isn't too far of a fall. You would think that he would be okay, but because he was in a shady area for so long and it was cold for so long, he didn't make it through the night.
Many of the calls come from Collado's regular customers, and while 2 iguanas on this property were dead, he usually finds them unconscious. But they don't stay that way, so they must be removed.
Iguanas are cold-blooded animals, and they need the heat from the sun to survive.
These iguanas caged in the back of his pickup truck are beginning to regain their energy under the warm afternoon sun. Now, this iguana is one of more than 100 that Redline collected in only a 3-hour period.
Yeah, so they're falling out of trees. I did not realize that iguanas are not natural to Florida. They're considered a nuisance. They're considered an invasive species, but they're also they're on the prohibited species list.
So
but they're falling out of trees.
Right?
They're falling out of trees down there in Florida.
Florida sucks.
So if you're one of the bureau chiefs down there, I don't have to tell you this. You're probably used to this. That was new to me, boy.
You probably just have one of those iguana umbrella hats because that's the most convenient thing. You don't have to carry an umbrella around all the time, so you just have the hat so they don't fall on you.
Yeah.
Knock you out. Their tail falls off.
Alan Tree Cutter up here in Cleveland said the weirdest thing he ever saw in Lakewood in the middle of the winter was an iguana frozen to a tree.
There was just a dude that they found him dead in his apartment in Lakewood, and he had like a crocodile and or an alligator or something. He had some weird animals in his place. Drug dealer stuff.
Some people love those exotic animals, boy.
It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, I want to be able to use my bathtub if I need it.
I would love an iguana. I feel like that.
Why?
Because they're so interesting. They look cool. Like it
I want nothing to do with a reptile. I don't
why?
even.
They don't hurt you.
No, not hurt me, but you got to keep a heat lamp on them, and it seems so labor intensive for no payoff. Very little payoff. People who want those, it's because they want them running around their house. Actually. Nobody gets one just to put it in an aquarium tank and watch it.
Yeah, my brother was.
You're trying to feed it mice, and it's just ugh.
My brother has like snakes and iguanas and stuff like that.
I don't get it.
I don't need it.
It just seems like a giant pain in the ass for no payoff.
It is.
Yeah. But now we know what to get Poundcake. Somebody's got a birthday coming up.
In September.
It's still coming up. It's not behind us.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
Your birthday's always coming up. Let me take a break here. I'll have another $1,000 for you closer to 4:30. And after this break, if you've been trying to get tickets for Monday Night Raw, WWE is back in Cleveland in March. So I'd get you a couple of tickets after the break. 35192 if you want to text for anything else, and we'll be